Here's what the media won't tell you about the current real estate market. Now that inventory and demand have likely peaked for the year, and sellers are looking at their homes realizing that they're probably not going to sell because they're overpriced, the housing market is really starting to slow down. But that's not what I was referring to. What the media won't actually tell you about the current real estate market is that the market that we're seeing at the moment is actually pretty normal of a real estate market for this time of year. Yes, even the price reductions, the homes dropping their prices, the days on the market building is typical of a more normal real estate market, especially one where you're ending summer and starting to head into the fall market. Back before many of you guys knew me as a YouTuber, somebody that did market updates and talked about the housing crash and all this craziness all the time, I actually used YouTube as a platform to upload market update videos for my clients. One where I could upload a video and send it to my client in an email to keep them abreast of actually what was going on in the housing market at that time. So they had some realistic expectations of what the market was doing, so they knew exactly how to approach it. So in today's video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about what a normal market actually looks like. What does a normal market feel like? Do homes sit on the market? Did they sell beneath the asking price? Did days on market build? Do we see price reductions? All of this craziness. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how sellers feel about this time of year. And we're actually going to do it in a bit of a different way. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a market update video that I did 3 years ago, September 2019. Now I realize a lot of you guys have really short memories and only remember the craziness of the last 2 years where homes were selling, the day they went on the market for much above the asking price, buyers waiving all contingencies, sellers not giving in, just absolute mayhem out there. But prior to that, there was actually some normalization in the market, right? We have ebbs and flows to the real estate market. So I thought it would be fun, if you will, to take us back prior to the craziness so that we could get a feel for what a normal market looks like. Because what I hear of at the moment is a lot of people comparing what we're seeing right now to 2008, to a real estate crash, when in all reality, it's more like the market of 2019, or maybe in some cases 2018. And I have videos from that too, but I thought let's go back and take a look at some clips from 2019. We'll talk about them just to show you what we're seeing right now is not all that different than the market we saw prior to the craziness, prior to the run-up of home prices. Now, what I'd like to ask when we look at some of these clips is that you guys be nice to me. This is a much younger Jeb. This is a 39-year-old Jeb. In fact, I still have that same shirt that I have on in this video. In fact, I wear it sometimes. It would actually have been pretty funny if I wore it today, but I didn't realize that I was actually going to be talking about this video, so I didn't wear it, but nevertheless. So actually, let's do this. Let's take a look at the very first clip that we're going to talk about in today's video, the time of the year, and what I was saying back then compared to what I'm actually saying right now about the time of the year and the real estate market. We're coming out of the end of summer. Kids are going back to school. The family vacations are done, and generally during this time of the year, the market starts to slow a bit, right? Because, people are getting ready for the holidays that are coming up soon. And just in general, buyer demand kind of slows, as does inventory in the market. And we're starting to see that a little bit. So as I mentioned in that clip, it's that time of year, right? When things are naturally going to slow down. The kids are back in school. People aren't out searching for homes. And this year's a little bit different, right? Because we've had some effects on affordability and we've seen interest rates rise, which we're going to talk about in some other clips that are going to pop up here. But the market naturally slows this time of year. The spring is the hot season. As we start to head into fall, things start to slow down. But that doesn't mean homes aren't going to sell. But let's take a look at a clip here where I talk about back again in 2019, which homes are going to sell during this time of year. Homes that are priced correctly, fair market value, are still moving. But keep in mind the average market time for our area is about 66 days on the market, which means that homes aren't necessarily selling the first weekend with multiple offers, even if they're priced correctly. Sometimes it's taking a couple of weeks, even a couple of months for properties to go into escrow. So the same thing is actually going to be true for the market that we're headed in. The homes that are priced correctly are likely going to sell, where those homes that are overpriced, where the seller thinks, they're still in the market from 6-8 months, a year ago, those homes are going to sit on the market. Now, you also have to understand we've had a huge run up in interest rates, which has affected affordability. And buyers out there, there's some buyers that are just scared for multiple reasons, which we're actually going to talk about in a clip here in just a minute. But there are homes still selling. And the fact that you see days on the market going up doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get a deal. It's just that time of year. In that clip that I just mentioned, the average days on market was about 66 days for my market. It's funny because that's about where we're sitting right now. Now, the craziness, of the pandemic, we saw days on the market get down into the teens. Homes were selling very, very quickly. And people now think because we're sitting at 60, 65 days on market, that it's an absolute crash, that prices are going to plummet, when in all reality, this is completely normal for this time of year. Now, a moment ago, I mentioned that people are sitting on the sidelines, worried about interest rates and worried about, the direction of the market. It's actually somewhat ironic because back then we had some issues with China and trade war, and I was actually talking about it in this clip here. There's a lot of uncertainty with regards to, trade war with China, what's going to happen with interest rates, is there a housing bubble? A lot of these factors play into people making decisions, and over the last couple of weeks to months, things have kind of started to slow a little bit, and slow in the sense that they're still selling for fair market value, but things aren't going gangbusters like they were a couple of months ago when a new property would come on the market and just have multiple offers the first weekend. So does that sound pretty similar to the market that we're in at the moment, right? Interest rates are rising. People are a bit worried. People are talking about a housing bubble. People are talking about a housing crash, if you will. Remember, they were talking about that in 2019. And if you had listened to the craziness of people talking about a housing bubble, a housing crash back then, you would have missed out on nearly 50% in equity gain. Now, I'm not going out there telling you that you need to buy a property, or, this is a video telling you that you buy a property now, because it's not that. It's buy a property when it's right for you, have that longer term time horizon, have money in the bank, don't stretch yourself. But this video is to show you that, a normal market actually has price reductions, actually has homes sitting on the market a little bit longer. In fact, we've had people talking about a housing crash, going back as far as 2015, when Diana Olick from CNBC has been saying every year that we're in a housing crash. Had you listened to that, you would have missed out on nearly 100% equity gain on your property. But again, I'm a real estate agent, and a lot of people out there believe that real estate agents say it's always a great time to buy. If you've been watching my videos for any period of time, I will tell you I'm a real estate agent. It is not always a great time to buy. In fact, right now is one of those times that you have to be more careful because of the appreciation that we've seen in the market, because of the craziness out there, because of the volatility, the unknown with interest rates and where the market's headed. But as long as you're buying for the right reasons and have time on your side, you're likely going to end up in a good spot. I tell people all the time, it's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market. So as long as you have a longer term time horizon, you're going to be solid. Now, let's go back again one more time to that video and look at a clip where I actually talk about not overpaying for a house in that market. This isn't a market to be overpaying for property. It is still a seller's market, so sellers are still making a lot of the choices with regards to, who the escrow company is, who the title company is, and still have control with regards to the price. So prices aren't, you can't go into a seller just because they've been listed for 60 days and offer 5%, 10% less. That's not the market we're in. We're still in a strong market. It's just a little more balanced than it was, say, a year ago this time. So does all of that sound familiar? Now, I feel bad if you actually sat through the entire video. Now, I get it. I appreciate you sitting through the entire video. That helps me. It helps the algorithms, just like hitting that like button if you found any value in this content, which I all appreciate. But the fact that you had to listen to all those ums and ahs and all of that, I realized it was dreadful, hard to watch. It's really hard for me to go back and watch some of this stuff. But I feel like it's important, right? As a real estate agent, I've been really busy over the last couple of years and forgot what a normal market actually looks like. Even though I talk about it all the time, it's helpful sometimes to go back and watch some of these videos so that you can see what the market was doing at that time and compare it to now, right? This was before the craziness, and everybody talks about, well, we're getting back to a market before the craziness. Well, this was that market. The market that we're in right now is essentially the market that I talked about in that video. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to link to this video if you want to go back and watch it. I'm sorry if you do, if you want to watch it in its entirety, but I do appreciate all the support you guys give me and always being here. And if you want to know how I lost nearly $1 million owning real estate, do me a favor and check out this video.